Amber Holt ran a true crime podcast called Unheard, where she investigated spooky mysteries and legends. Most of the time, she exposed them as fake, just silly stories people made up. But one story catches her attention, a tale about a haunted well in a small town named Willow Creek. People say that on quiet nights, they can hear a child's voice calling for help from the well. Curious and skeptical, Amber drives out to Willow Creek. As she talks to the townspeople, she starts to feel like they're hiding something. Most of them won't go near the well and warn her not to either. She meets an elderly man, Gerald Hayes, who has lived in the town his whole life. Gerald tells her the story everyone knows. A young girl named Clara supposedly fell into the well 100 years ago, and her voice has been heard ever since, calling for someone to come save her.
People who've heard the voice say it sounds like she's right beside them,
Gerald says, a strange look in his eye.
But be careful. Not everyone who goes to the well comes back.
Amber laughs it off. She's sure there's a logical explanation, and she's determined to find it. The next evening, she hikes into the woods with her microphone and recording gear. The well is deep in the forest, surrounded by overgrown weeds and twisted trees. Standing cold and alone, Amber feels a chill run through her, but she shakes it off. Ghosts weren't real, and she was going to prove it. She hits the record button and waits, the only sound the rustling leaves around her. Just as she's about to leave, she hears it, a faint, trembling voice. It's small and soft, like a child whispering.
Help me!
Amber freezes. She leans closer to the well, heart racing.
Is someone down there?
She asks, her voice shaky, but there's no answer. She waits a moment longer, then decides it must have been her imagination. Later that night, when she plays back her recording, she hears it clearly.
Please, help me.
Amber's skin prickles, but she reminds herself it's just a strange echo or maybe a trick of the wind. Determined to get to the bottom of things, Amber returns to Gerald the next day. He's hesitant to talk more, but shares something chilling.
There's a pattern,
he says slowly.
Every few years, someone who hears that voice goes missing, and it always happens near the well.
Amber tries to brush off the creepy feeling that's building up, but that night, a young boy named Ethan comes to her, saying he's seen the ghost of the well. I saw her last summer, he whispers. She looked lonely. She said she just wants a friend. This time, Amber feels real fear settle in, but she's a professional. She can't let a little ghost story get to her, so she decides to go back to the well one last time. This time at midnight, the haunted hour. When she arrives, the woods feel different, heavier. The air is cold and still, and Amber feels as if something is watching her. She switches on her recorder and steps closer to the well. Suddenly, she hears the voice again, louder, sadder, and almost angry.
Why did you leave me? Don't go.
Amber feels a chill all over. She looks down into the well, and to her horror, a small, pale face appears, staring back up at her. A young girl with empty, hollow eyes and tangled hair. The girl reaches out with a sad, pleading look. Amber stumbles back, terrified, barely able to breathe. The girl whispers again, her voice echoing in Amber's ears.
Don't leave me. I don't want to be alone.
Amber scrambles away, nearly tripping over her own equipment as she races back to town. But when she listens to the recording later, there's only silence. It's as if the voice and the face never existed at all. Shaken, Amber tries to tell the townspeople, but they just shake their heads, murmuring that she's finally seen what she came looking for. Amber eventually leaves Willow Creek, but she'll never forget that night by the well. And as for the town, they say the legend of the haunted well lives on. Every few years, someone new hears that sad, lonely voice calling out, pleading for a friend, and sometimes they don't come back. Now, if you're curious to know what happened to Amber and want to hear the rest of the story, let me know in the comments. Would you like a part 2? Your support means a lot, so hit the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more chilling stories. See you soon, if you dare to come back.